Any of you ever been at that place in your life? Or just been so broke and there was nothing you could do about it? And it started affecting your character? And you felt hopeless? Have any of you guys ever felt that way? Now, when I say that, and I say, let me tell you how it made me feel, worthless. Worthless. No, not respected. Not cared about. Does anybody relate to that? Okay, if I open a briefing like that, some of the men in the audience go, they don't raise their hand, but that's me. That's me. You know, if you ladies ever just had to go to work every day and drop your kids off and care, baby care, what am I doing? I had this baby 6 months ago and now I'm dropping them off for an 8-hour period because I got to go to work. What does that feel like? See, that's, again, telling a story or creating emotion so that you can share your story with them. Let me show you what I found. Tell you how many coaches I have right now that aren't home with their kids because of this crazy business. Well, it's learning to tell a story with emotion. We are wired toward emotional overcoming much more than facts and figures. When people ask you about your business, get rid of the facts and figures. No one cares about how the compensation plan works. I'm sorry. They may tell you they do, and eventually you can tell them how it works. That's not what they're looking for. They don't care that there's a Ikapaka root in the Shakeology. I don't even know if there is. I figured if I pull a name, it has to be in there. Everything else is, right? No, but do they really care about the Ikapaka root that's in there? Or the kangaroo root? The kangaroo dung? Whatever's in there. Or whatever's in there, do they really care? Sort of, but not really. What do they care is, what has it done for your life? What's been the difference for you? What about my life is similar to your life, and it's made a difference for you, so it'll make a difference for me? That's our story. You know, when I'm prospecting someone for Beachbody, it's like, we go to P90X, and it's like, oh yeah, you tried P90X, it's so unbelievable. Yeah, it makes you strong. Look at these muscles. Yeah, we're doing great. I gotta go to the bathroom. You know, and we're doing all this P90X stuff, right? And yet, we're not connecting with them. We're not connecting. See, I see you're working here. Do you work full time? Yeah, you have another job too? Wow, that must be tough on your family. It is. I never get to see my kids. Really? What's that feel like? As a man. Doesn't feel good. Love to be coaching my kids. Can't do it. You know what? We need to get together and talk. Because that man, when you told me that hurt me. I'd love to spend some time showing you some ways we can create some options. Something like that. But I mean, we got to get back to where it touches the heart and not just the mind. Okay? Point 3. Turns me into we. When I'm talking to you, me has to become we. Nobody wants to hear your story. Yeah, well, I got a Beachbody. I lost all this weight now. I'm making so much money right now. I'm crushing it. I'll be retired in the next 6 months. I've done this. I've done that. I'm going to be a 15-star dive. That's not me to we. Me to we is, let me tell you how I felt when I got in, and let me tell you how much it hurt, and let me tell you what I've been able to overcome. That's me to we. If we don't create me to we don't connect when we show this business to people. We don't connect when we do exposures. We don't connect when we're in front of an audience doing a briefing. We don't connect at a home party. We don't connect on our team Beachbody challenges until me becomes we. I know how you feel. I felt the same way. Let me show you what I found. Sometimes it's not even the words, it's listening. Like I talked about earlier. C.S. Lewis tells the story of his wife died. I don't know how many of you read C.S. Lewis, but he's one of my favorite authors. But C.S. Lewis, his wife died. They were madly in love, 50 years, incredible marriage. He talks about being at the viewing. He was in England. He was at the viewing. And all these people came in, and he was just sitting there in a chair by himself, sobbing, looking at his wife's casket. And all these people came in that were Christians with him, and they all gave scripture and told him, oh, God, better place. And all the things that you know, as Christians, we think we need to say sometimes because we don't know what else to say. And so he just one after another was pillaging him with all these answers of why she's dead. This one man came in, he talked about it, came in, sat next to him, put his arm around him, held him as tight as he could, and sobbed with him for 30 minutes. The man got up and left and never said a word. And C.S. Lewis in this story says, I will never remember one thing any of those human beings said, but I'll never forget that man for the rest of my life. That's all we are sometimes, you guys. It's just that person. You know what? We showed up. We showed up. If you keep showing up in Beachbody, you're going to have a big business. If you just keep showing up. Day after day after day. When me becomes we. When they understand it's not all the words. It's not telling them all the answers to every question. It's being there and being different. and letting them hear your story and then learning theirs. Lead from the heart, not the head. Lead from the heart, not the head. Everybody relates to the heart. Most of the people, the factual things, they're okay, they're information, but they're not going to touch them. They're not going to move them in the direction as a coach that you want to move. Boredom occurs when you fail to make the other person interesting. Isn't that interesting? How many times you spend with people, that's the most boring person I ever spent time around? Well, maybe it's because you never ask questions. Maybe they're bored because they're yawning and they seem bored, but it's because you're boring them. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so boredom occurs when you fail to make the other person interesting. You need to become people experts, you guys. Okay? Spend time with people. Ask them questions. Find out about their life. Their life is interesting. But it isn't until you decide to listen to the story. We want to barrage people with information about our life. We just think my beach body story is, oh, well, it's this, it's that, it's this, and these people are sitting there, and you're just like, you've talked them in, they're back out, they're back in again, they're out again. Because you just talk to them and talk to them and talk to them. Say a few things and listen. And listen what they have to say and hear what they're saying. Because they're saying to you what you want to hear, and that is, I have needs. There's things I want in my life. You know, there's things that I want, and this business I'm sure can get them, but I don't even know what it's about. So they're asking you through their responses to your questions. So quit feeling like you have to do nothing but give information in your stories. We must connect. Point 7. Point 8, putting facts into an emotional context. Okay? Putting facts into an emotional context. I missed point 6. I love this one. Listen to their story before you tell them yours. So when you sit down and show the business owner, tell me your story, man. I'd love to know what got you to where you are in your life right now. I want to take a few minutes. Just tell me about your life. Wow. Nobody's asked me that. Nobody's been in or honest or cared enough to even ask me that. And right away, you get to listen to what's going on. And then I guarantee you what we have in the business and what we have available in this business will be answers for every single one of their questions. It'll be the thing they're looking for. I promise you, 100% it'll be the thing they're looking for. But you don't know it, and they don't know you know it until you let them tell you it. Does that make sense? So learn to tell your story, you guys. Learn to, if you're going to drive a point home, tell a story to drive it home. I was in Springfield, Illinois, and I was thinking about the word. I just read a book. It was a phenomenal book. It was about words. Like one chapter was on passion, one chapter was on nagase. These different words, and this guy took words and broke them down what the Greek means and what the original meaning was. It was an amazing book. But I thought about the word commitment. And I was in Springfield, Illinois, and I went for a run before I was speaking that night. I took a run in the afternoon. And from the distance, I saw these two wheelchairs coming towards me. And both these people were extremely bent up, and I don't know exactly what was wrong with them, but they looked like cerebral palsy or something. It was a man and a woman, and they were just bent up and crippled terrible. And he was a little bit ahead of her, and he's kind of coming towards the road, towards a stop or the intercross, and she's coming, and he gets to the end, he waits for her, and I'm watching this. I stopped running, and I'm watching this, and I'm thinking of the word commitment, and empathy, and relationships, and all the things I like to talk about. And I'm watching this woman, and he stops and waits, and then she wheels chairs up next to him, right? Because they're both in wheelchairs. They're both totally crippled and over. And then I see him take this withered, crippled hand and reach over under her wheelchair like this. And then they both went across the street together. And he just held on to it. It was the hardest thing for him. And I'm sitting there like crying watching this going. Commitment. Passion. Relationships. And I'm thinking of this hand it took him forever to get it up, and she waited, and he put it on her chair. Like he could do anything to protect her. Like if a car was, he couldn't do anything. But it was okay, he needed to do that, to let her know. And he put it there, and he just held it, and they went across the street together, and he got it back in his chair, and they went on. I said, thank you, God, for that experience. Because those life lessons so you take words do nothing but the stories make the words. And that's what our lives are made up of. So when someone asks you, why are you in Beachbody? Tell them your story. Your real story. And you know what? When you do, they're going to want to be in business with you. They want to be honest with you. They want to be in a relationship with you. And that's what we have to offer. And that's what you have to offer every single day. Let's look at 10 points of leadership. Some of you have heard my CD I did on this, but I want to go through this and talk about it. Because again, we are talking about leadership. And I know all of us in here, I said it earlier today when I started. I said, the better leader you become, the bigger your business gets. So that's my goal, is to help you grow as leaders. Leaders must create trust. Okay? Point number one, a leader does more than anyone else in their group or in their company. I call them guide and show leaders. We talked a little bit about that today. By example, I outworked everybody in my business because I knew if I was going to lead my group and lead my leaders, I needed to work harder than them. Okay? So I outworked all the people in my group. I wanted to take responsibility I wanted to be the point man of my business. I wanted to be the one that was out front. You know, the fleet only moves at the speed of the first ship. I wanted to be that ship that was moving out front and getting it done. If you look behind you and your business is moving slow, probably you're moving slow. I knew I could create momentum by doing the things that I needed to do. That's what you need to do. So you can't look at your business and blame your business for where it is. You have to take responsibility for it and say, I'm going to outwork the entire business. I'm going to go get it. I'm going to get it done. I'm going to work harder than anybody else in my group. A weakening of the need accomplished more than others. Here's a quote: a weakening of the need to be a great man and an increasing feeling of let's just get through the best way we can. And I share that with you. Let me say again: a weakening of the need to be a great man. And this is where a lot of men and women in America are right now. A weakening of the need to be a great man and an increasing feeling of let's just get through this the best way we can. How many people are living that in their lives right now? No, totally. Let's just get through it. Or let's just pay our bills at the end of the month. Let's just get through this the best way we can. A weakening of the great man. So a lot of the people out there that we're leading, that's their frustration. And so the only way we can switch that and tweak it and change it is by being different and living different. Okay, next two. A leader pursues change, demands it of themselves with an intense desire. Don't forget in leadership, write this down, it's a good quote for you. Don't forget, in leadership, if you're through growing, you're through. Don't forget, in leadership, if you're through growing, you're through. Every one of us has to be on an intense personal growth program. You know, what book are you reading right now? What CD are you listening to every day? When I got in the Amway business, I shut off my radio and I never listened to it for 3 years. I put a CD, we had cassettes then. I'm aging myself. We had cassette tapes. I had cassettes in. I was listening to them every day. If my car was moving, I was listening. If I stopped, I was reading. So I literally had a book next to me. If I stop at a stoplight, I'd just pick up the book and I'd read a sentence, 2 sentences. I'd put it back down. I'd have my stuff going, and I'd roll. So I was either listening to something that would change my thinking, or I was reading something to give me power and strength to be different. And so we need to be committed to an intense training, personal growth program. Because all of you have to change. If you didn't, you'd already have what you want in life. And you're not going to get what you want until you change. And how do we change? You get it by 3 things. It's the people you hang out with, it's the books you read, right? And it's what you're hearing every single day. Because we have to switch the filter in our lives. We live our life through a filter. We make decisions through a filter. We filter all that comes into our life through this filter. The problem with most of us is, it's an old filter. The old filter says, you're not very bright. What do you think you're doing? You're never going to be successful. You're a loser. You were a fat kid. Nobody liked you. You got all D's and F's. You were never an achiever. That's my old filter. If I filter today through that, I'll never change. I'll never grow. I'll never become anything different. I have to change the filter that I filter through. The new filter. You're a masterpiece. You were designed to do great things with your life. You can do anything you want. You can overcome anything you want. You're not average. You've never been average. You're making choices for the future. That's my new filter. So what we need to learn to do is somehow we got to filter through the new filter. And if we filter through the old one, we're going to stay where we are. If we filter through the new one, we're going to change. We're going to grow. We're going to start to believe that. It's like our self-talk. We suck at talking to ourselves. How many times a day you go, you suck, dude. You're so stupid. I can't believe you did that. God, you look like crap, man. You got love handles, muffin deals. I mean, we don't need other people to rip us up. We shred ourselves. Most of the time. You know 80% of what comes out of your mouth is negative about yourself? To yourself? So your brain's sitting here going, you got muffins. You're fat. You don't look good. You're ugly. Your nose is big. Your ears are big. Your lips are too small. Your hips are too big. Whatever it is, we're sitting there buying into this. And it's 24 hours a day we cycle this with our voice. Our mind hears our voice. Our mind knows our voice. It believes you. It believes you. How do we change that? What we say about ourselves. You have no right to put yourself down. You have no right to do anything except speak positive about yourself. This is huge, you guys. I'm telling you, that's why I have people. Here's what I teach the people I mentor. I said, we're going to write down 12 months from today what your life's going to look like I talked about earlier. What do you want your epitaph? What do you want your life to be 12 months from today? And then after we do that, we're going to read it, your voice, into an MP3 player. And every day you wake up in the morning, you're going to listen to it first thing. And every time you're working out, you're going to listen to it. And every night before you go to bed, you're going to listen to it. And what happens is your mind starts to say, oh, I'm going to have this much a month income. Oh, my life's going to look like this. My relationship with my husband's going to be like this. And pretty soon your mind goes, okay, that's what we're doing now. I never did that. I never ever had a year that I did that I didn't live the exact life in 12 months that I spoke into it for 12 months. The exact income, the exact life. Because my mind didn't let me not live that because I kept telling them that's who I was. This might sound spooky to you. This is true stuff, you guys. This is the way our minds work. And so you don't have to worry about those people put me down. Not as much as you do. Because we shred ourselves. So why do we need personal growth? Why do we need to read books? Why do we need for me to read Scripture? Why do I need to read things that are going to say to you, here's what you are, here's who you are, here's your value in your life? Because whether you read stuff, you don't read stuff that says you aren't, but the world tells you aren't. You don't look good enough. You're not rich enough. You know, you're not handsome enough. All these things. You're not pretty enough. The world feeds us full of that. And we need to fight against that. And the way we fight against it is we read the kind of books we need to be reading. There's a great book called The Greatest Miracle in the World by Og Mandino, if you've never read it. It's a great book. You'll meet a guy named Simon Potter. It's just a really simple, easy read, but it's an awesome book. I love Og Mandino books. There's just so many different things you can read. Anybody read The Shack here? Okay? Fascinating book, The Shack. Incredible book. The author I know. In fact, on my birthday, he called me this year and we talked. He's an incredible guy. But his life story is amazing. But those books change our lives, you guys. They change our perspective, our thinking. They're the things we need to be doing, putting that info into our brains. Okay, so you need to change. A leader can communicate vision in the lives of others and call them to action. I want to read a section out of, this is a really good book. It's called A Leader's Heart, 365-Day Devotional Journal by John Maxwell. It's an awesome book. It'd be a great gift if you want to give one for Christmas to somebody, but it's a phenomenal book. Let me tell you what Maxwell says about vision. Vision is everything for a leader. It's utterly indispensable. Why? Because vision leads the leaders, it paints the targets, sparks and fuels the fire within, and draws them forward. And it's also the fire lighter for others who follow those leaders. Show me a leader without vision, and I'll show you someone who isn't going anywhere. One of the most valuable benefits of vision is that it acts like a magnet, attracting, challenging, and uniting people. The greater the vision, the more winners it has potential to attract. When you think about your calls, your team calls, or you think about when you get off the phone with your coaches, what vision have you given them of their lives? Do they leave hanging up going, oh boy? Or do they leave hanging up going, all right? We need to be visionaries for our people, you guys. We need to be ones telling them what it's going to be like. Because you know what? When I believe in you, you believe in you. When I tell you where you're going, you believe you're going there. Once I know where you want to go, then every time we talk, I'm going to create a vision for where that is. You need to be the fire lighters for your people. You need to be the ones, like I was talking about, there's a meeting, I was just doing a meeting up in Bakersfield, and I was talking about from a leadership perspective. You guys, as leaders, we can't take days off. We're leaders 24/7. We don't take days off, you guys. You don't have the luxury of having a day off when you're a leader in your business. You don't have the luxury of picking up the phone and being in a bad mood. You don't have the luxury of picking up the phone and having a bad attitude. That doesn't belong to you. You don't have that anymore because you're a leader. I don't care what kind of day you had. If I call you and I'm in your downline, you're fired up and you're creating a vision for my life and where I can go. Right? You don't have a right to be down. Because that's what you've been called to. And that's why eventually you make so much money for being that. and you have a whole life change. But you know what? You don't have a choice. You have to be willing to be the visionary. You have to, you have to create that path for people. It's taking them to the lake. They don't know how to get there. You need to, instead of being a travel agent, you need to be a tour guide. Travel agents say, here's where you go. Go to Italy. It's great, beautiful. And get to the hotel. It'll be nice. Tour guides show up when you're there and they take you everywhere. That's what you need to do as a coach, as a leader. Without vision, there's nothing. Even Scripture says without vision, man will perish. So what kind of visionaries are you for your people? After they're on the phone with you, do they know where they're going, how they're going to get there? And are they excited about going with you? If they're not, you need some work to do. Because that's your job when you're on the phone, when you're in front of them. Is that they just leave and go, I can't wait to get going. It doesn't matter what I did in the past, I'm going forward. So be that visionary for your people. Next point number 4. A leader is competent and knows their business. Competence goes beyond words. It's the leader's ability to say it, plan it, do it in such a way that others know that you know how and know that they want to follow you. Competence goes beyond words. It's the leader's ability to say it, plan it, and do it in such a way that others know that you know how and know they want to follow you. Right? So that, again, our responsibility. 5 points. Number 1, show up every day. I already said it. Just show up every day. Be in people's lives every day. Have 10 people you're going to call on Monday who are in your group who need to hear from you. Show up every day in your business. Show up doing what you have to do. Do the game plan every single day. Just show up every day because that shows confidence and shows your people that you know where you're going. And now they know how to get there because you're the one leading them there. So you got to show up every day. Number 2, keep improving. Every day get better. Get better every day. You're not going to have great days every day. But you know what? You can get better every single day. So keep proving. It's like a personal best for those of you who run or those of you who work out. You had a personal best. What is it? Have a personal best every day. Follow through with excellence. Point 3, follow through with excellence. Excellence. I love that word. In your marriage, is it excellence? In your relationship with your children, is it excellence? In your Beachbody business, is it excellence? In your workout, is it excellence? See you, Cameron. All right, bro. In your personal life, is it excellence? Do you demand that of yourself? You expect that of yourself in every part of your life. If it's not there, then get it. Work on it. Find out where the things need to be tweaked and go after it. And choose that in every area. Excellence. Inspire others. Be the inspiration, you guys. Be the one saying, okay, I'll be the inspiration. And number 5, accomplish more than expected. Accomplish more than expected. What are your expectations of yourself? What are your expectations of your team? Maybe none of you have expectations for yourself. Maybe none of you have expectations for your team. You better. Because they aren't going to have them if you don't. As a leader, I'm the visionary. I tell our team where we're going. When I was in the Amway business, there was a Long Beach convention. I live in California. There's a Long Beach Convention Center that has 17,000 seats in it. And I took my 7 top leaders and we went over to I took them one day because a friend of mine was a security guard there. And I took them in the stadium and I put them on the stage and I put 7 chairs on the stage and I had them facing the audience. There was nobody in there. 17,000 empty seats. And I stood this way facing them and I told them, okay, close your eyes. And they did. And for 1 hour, I painted what the night was going to be like 2 years from that day when we do a free enterprise weekend there where there's 17,000 people, every seat filled. And they closed their eyes, and I spent 1 hour as their leader, as a distributor, as their coach, painting the vision for what that was going to be like. What we were going to look like, what clothes we were going to be wearing, the tuxedos we were going to have on, the gowns their wives would be wearing, the Rocky theme playing, the confetti coming from the ceiling, the balloons flying up into the ceiling of the stadium as we introduced the diamonds on stage to represent the leadership of that company. And they sat there, and man, pretty soon tears just started running down their eyes. But I painted, they saw that. It was real to them. It was as real as if it was happening right then. 24 months later, on a Friday night, we put 17,000 people in that stadium. That's a group of 7 right there. 17,000 people filled that stadium. And we stood backstage, and you know what it was? Deja vu. We'd already been there. It wasn't even, it was great, but we'd done it. We knew it. We heard it every day. What we did was we recorded that while I was saying it, and they listened to it every single day. And every day they were out at night showing their business and exhausted and driving miles and trying to get people in their Amway business and growing and growing and growing. They listened to that every day. Dun 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 dun. Every day, me in the back of my voice, 17,000 people screaming, confetti coming down from the ceiling. Me introducing you as brand new diamonds, your wives in beautiful gowns. And so after that, when we did that, this person did a giant picture of the stadium with all of us on stage and the confetti coming down. I had big posters made and everyone had it in their house. We lived it. We didn't wait till we got there to live it. We lived it before. In our hearts, our souls, and our minds, we expected it. I knew what it was going to feel like. Success isn't an accident, you guys. You're not going to wake up one day and say, wow, this is weird to be this successful. It doesn't happen. You plan it. And you plan it there. Every single day, right there, I know what it's going to feel like. I know what that's going to taste like. I know what I'm going to look like. And that's what we grab a hold of. And when you start that translating to your group, you got a bunch of people on fire, you guys. A bunch of people that go, man, I love being in this team because this team is rocking and rolling. And you know where it starts with you as a leader in the business. So it's not an accident. You've been there. I looked around the audience and said, wow, we've been here before, haven't we? Yeah. 2 years ago, sitting on that stage with just the 7 of us. A leader owns it, their business. Own your business, own your life. Own their attitude and own their posture and presence. You're the owner of your business. You don't work for Beachbody. I know some people tell, well, I work for Beachbody. No, you don't. You don't work for Beachbody. You own your own business. You're in business for yourself. How's your business doing? I know how Beachbody's doing. I know how Beachbody's doing. They did $400 million. They're doing dang good. Okay? How are you doing? As a CEO owner of your company, how does it look? What's your profit and loss? What's it look like at the end of the week? What's your activities look like? How many leaders have you created? What's the company look like that you own? That's what you got to evaluate. You got to own your life, own your business first. And you own your life. Responsible for yourself. Quit making excuses for yourself. Quit, I tell people this guy the other day saying, well, you know, my life, you have no idea what I've gone through. I'm going through this. And I said, you know what? I said, I understand that. But I guarantee you right now, I can get a phone call. I can take in my phone. I can call a girl who's gone through the exact same thing you have. The exact same thing, only a little bit worse. And I'll put you on the phone with her. And she's flipping, retired in the business now, making 6 figures. So it doesn't work for me. I understand, but we'll always find someone who's taken what you're taking and used it for greatness instead of a reason not to. Right? And so the excuses don't work, so you've got to own your life. When you finally decide to come to a point in your life where you say, like I did, that's it. I'm sick of being average. I'm sick of living in the past. I'm sick of blaming my dad. I'm sick of blaming my mom. I'm sick of blaming all this other crap. I'm sick of all this stuff that supposedly, I'm done with it. It's the aha moment. I'm going here. God, you've called me to do it. I'm going after it. That's it, period. I'm done. Get a big lunch, sit in the bushes and watch. It's getting done. I mean, that was where I came from. And then I thought, and the other part of that is, forget the past. Your old man ain't going to change, so it can't affect you anymore. Forgive him. Move on. And I did. I forgave him. I'm not letting him own me anymore. If I keep wallowing in that crap that happened, it owns me. I'm done with him. He's done owning me. You can't do it anymore. And some of you have some of that in your past. You need to quit letting it guide your life. So it was number one, that's it, period. I'm done. I'm going to own my life from this point on. And I'm going to go